Welcome to another episode. This one on the stock market. On this one, I'm challenging my own prediction. Let's see whether it comes true or not. I mean, all over the YouTube web, the discussions, particularly if you are looking at any of the stock market YouTube channels, there are various discussions about the fall in the stock market in the recent time, that is in the last 1 month or so. Around September last, the Indian stock market reached a peak of 85K. It was no looking back in the whole of this year. It started off in 70Ks, to 70,000, and it started increasing slowly. There was a fall suddenly during the election time from 74 or 75K. There was a fall of around 72K, and then it started climbing up again. And though at that point, the economists around the world or the stock market expert indicated that the stock market is overheated. There is a bull run which is happening, and there is supposed to be a correction. As a matter of fact, I expected correction once it reached around 82K or 82,000. Stock index went to 82,000. That was not the case. It went up to 85K, post which we see a fall. So now to the point, from the bull run, has the stock market has gone into a bear run? So if so, the two questions: how much is the fall going to be there in the stock market fall, or can it retrieve back? And if so, what is the duration? These two questions: how much is the fall is going to be, and how much is the duration, is very difficult question to get answered. In fact, some of the YouTube channels I saw, when it fell, and they said, yes, once the festive season happens, that is around Diwali, that's around 20th October, they said it will bounce back because there's Diwali sales is going to happen. So I was in fact pessimistic at that point, and I thought it might not recover that quickly, and it happened so. Even Diwali is now, as of now, we are on 1st of November. It has not recovered. It is still below that 80,000, 80K or 80,000. Sensex is less than that. So is that going to continue? If so, how long? So for this, there are multiple parameters, and this multiple parameters, that's where I believe the bear run is going to take some more time before the stock market is going to go up. The fall, I believe, is going to be a little more time. So there are about 5 to 6 points. That is what I'm going to discuss over here. Point number one, the first one, the reason for the stock market fall is supposed to be due to the foreign institution investors who withdrew about close to 1 lakh crores from the stock market. This is supposed to be highest, more than what was withdrawn during the peak of COVID in March 2020. So in fact, the fall would have been, when compared to COVID time, naturally the fall would have been much more, but it was balanced out with the domestic institution or domestic institution investors who balanced it. So that's where the fall was much lesser. Otherwise, the estimated correction was supposed to be in the range of 20%. I mean, 10 to 20%. Will that happen? That's another question. That means the peak was around 85. Sensex was around 85,000. Can it hit around, if you subtract about 20%, if you calculate that way, it's around 70K or 70,000. Can index come down to 70,000? That's a huge fall. So if it is 20%, and if so, how long in this fall will happen? That is another question. Now, the first factor is November. This is one point. November, December is a holiday time in US, and generally they want to, foreign institution investor always want to play it safe. So they will, because that's a holiday time, and people go on holiday, they want to park the money at a place where it is going to be safe, much safer. That is one. And it is also for some of the companies, most of the companies, they want to book profit because some of them have December as closing time, and they want to book profit because we had a peak in September. We had a peak. They sold it off. They want to book profit and show that they are doing good. That is point. So it's always, if you look at, I would say 50 to 70%, take any year, 50 to 70% of year ends, you will see a fall in the stock index as far as India is concerned. Point number two is elections. With elections around the corner in US, it's still closely fought between the Trump and Kamala Harris, been closely fought, and it's difficult to predict. And some of them, industry experts, want Trump to come, and few of them say Kamala Harris. So it's always a dicey situation, and it creates a kind of a panic in the market. And still, they want to have a stable market as far as US is concerned. The other markets is fine. So there is, those pressures are also there. So this is number two, elections around corner. So even the election result is supposed to be starting in November, but then till Jan end, it is a kind of a manual voting process till about Jan end. You till about the next government takes over at US. It is kind of an uncertainty and unstable environment, I would say, as far as US is concerned. This is again point number two. So these are pretty much important. First is the year end. Always there is supposed to be a fall, and added to this, this year there is a election. So election time, you always see that uncertainty. The third one is the wars which is happening. The Russia-Ukraine war, which started around Feb 22, there is no end to it. We are over 2 years now, and it has not really stopped. And then we have the war in Israel, Middle East. Israel, it started off with Israel Hamas, and then Iran also joined in. There was different attacks which is going on, not just with Hamas alone. It is starting to spread across, and many countries are taking sides. And on top of it, we also had the BRICS versus kind of which is again BRICS is constituting the rest of the Western world, and they are gaining the importance. So kind of a uncertainty all over. So compared to prior COVID and what is now, there is all these wars, BRICS versus the Western world. All this are creating the other challenges as well. So this is wars is point number three. When war happens, difficult for everything, for communication network, for travel, everything. It's difficult, and getting the supply chain in place, taking long routes for the supply chain to arrive at the destination, all are challenges. So they look for a safe bet. That's where, if you look at it, the gold prices is going up. Particularly, it started going up from COVID, and it is still going up. The gold prices is still going up. There are other reasons as well. Even countries like China, it is said that they are investing heavily on gold rather than the reserve currency, which is supposed to be USD. This is point number three, wars. This is also it's really creating a kind of an unpredictable environment. The fourth point is, of course, the US economy itself. A lot of job cuts which is happening, layoffs are which is happening. The Fed, the interest rate was inflation, huge inflation. So again, for that, the Fed has decreased the interest rate initially about a month or so back, and it's predicted that further reduction could happen, so that they are trying to bring back the US economy in shape. So that is kind of a point number four. And there is also a prediction 2025, it's going to be a recession year for the US economy. So all this add up to the pressure on the Sensex, or pressure on the stock market. That is where we are seeing a fall now. And what I believe is just my, you can call it guesstimate or estimate. I would say that the fall will happen around November, December, Jan, Feb, and early time I'm predicting is somewhere around Feb end or March, where we could see a recovery if the economy or the world, if there is a stability in the world market, it could turn around. And probably yes, might not, the stock market might not fall maybe around 20%, but even it could go up to maybe around 15%. So that means the fall could happen. If it doesn't happen, it's well, because these days, as predicted, the common man is investing in stock. So that way, if it doesn't happen, it's well and good. Otherwise, I see there's no end to a kind of a slow fall which we are witnessing in the stock market, um, to go as it is, and it could recover or rebound and stabilize at probably around 76k or 78k around. This could happen somewhere in between November end or Jan Feb, and after Feb March, if everything goes well, then yes, it could restart again. So for long-term investors, nothing to worry about. Stay invested. India is witnessing a growth story. It will continue to witness a growth story. It's a kind of a short-term period, maybe about anywhere between 3 to 6 months max. There could be a kind of a fall, and then it will stabilize. For long-term investor, nothing to worry. Keep investing, find out the intrinsic value of the stocks, and I have sessions on that. So look out for the share market, or look out for the best mutual funds, and stay invested. It could always give you a better return if you are invested for a long period of time, that is anywhere between 3 years and above period. Yes, you could always get a return much better than the FDs, fixed deposit. And on top of it, you have taxation benefits as well, as far as the stock market is concerned. So stay invested, don't panic. Yes, it could be a kind of a short term fall. It could recover maybe anywhere between 3 to 6 months time frame. I hope you found this presentation useful. Do subscribe to my channel. Thanks and cheers.